What's up, guys? It's your boy, that boy Keys, back with another video. I know most of you guys are here to watch part 3, part 4, and part 5 of me seeing a dead body. So make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, turn on post notifications, and let's get into the story. I probably shouldn't tell you guys this, but I've seen a dead body before. So back when I was in 10th grade in high school, it was me, my friend Mir, my friend Dom, and my friend Destin. They're all my best friends, by the way. Anyways, but behind our school, there was a big area of woods, and the name of the woods were called Lost End Woods. I mean, we heard stories about the woods and stuff like that, like kids that went in there and never came back. They even seen the Jersey Devil, like those type of stories. But knowing me and the gang, we weren't scared. So one day after school, we all decided to go take a walk back there. We had to go sneak back there though, because no one's allowed back there. So we really couldn't go after school, so we waited. So when we finally went, it was like 8 o'clock at night. So when we walked up to the woods, it was like this long path that leads into the darkness. So we all looked at each other and we was like, so we all agreed that if we go in there, we leave no man behind. So when we entered the woods, it was a bunch of bugs and spiders and stuff like that. So anyway, as we walked into the woods, inside the woods there were a bridge. The bridge was long, so we couldn't see anything until we heard some footsteps. Alright, so part 2 as promised. Where did I leave off at? Oh yeah, we heard footsteps. As soon as we heard footsteps, we ended up taking flight until we realized our friend Destin couldn't run because we forgot he had surgery on his knee. So anyway, we all stopped and turned around to go look for him. We couldn't see him at all, so we started getting scared. So we checked our phones for phone service. We didn't have any of that. We couldn't leave the woods without him, so we decided to turn around and start going back to the bridge. I also forgot to mention, when you go down the trail, it gives you 3 paths. So anyway, when we got to the bridge, Destin was still there, but he wasn't saying nothing, he wasn't moving or nothing. So we told him, let's go, we're not staying here. Then next thing you know, he started pointing forward. He was like, y'all, look at this. And that's when we started looking where he was pointing at, and that's when we saw a flashlight. So we weren't gonna stay there and find out what's gonna happen. So I took it upon my own hands to pick Destin up. I put him on my back and we took flight again. And knowing us, we forgot what trail to go down. So anyways, we ended up picking a random trail. Now listen to this. When we were running, Dom fell over something, and I think you know what that was. Here's part 3 as promised. I know some of you guys think this is cap, but believe me, it's not. Anyways, when we were running in the woods, Dom had tripped over something. We turned around to go see if he was okay, but when we walked up, we seen something. We all were hoping it wasn't what we thought it was. Yes, it was a dead body. So immediately we all started freaking out and stuff. But Destin started walking close to the body, and then he called us over and he said, look. When we started walking closer, I started catching a weird vibe. And when we finally got to the body and looked at it, when I tell you I did not know what to do, we were all shocked. We couldn't even see the face, so we were going to turn it around. Then we started hearing crackles in the woods. So we all started looking at each other confused. Now listen to this, bro. When we were looking around to find out that noise, I don't know what it was, I don't know who it was. Someone tossed a rock in front of us. And the rock looked like someone took a knife and scratched it up. And out of nowhere, Destin started crying. Now the crazy part is, when he was crying, we heard someone laughing in the woods. Alright, so here's part 4. So anyways, when Destin was crying, we heard someone laughing in the woods. So we all started running while Destin was limping. I couldn't leave Destin behind, so I decided to go back and stay with him. And then Mir and Dom came back. When we came back to Destin, we still heard laughing. And I promise you, to this day, you can ask my crew, they remember this story. So anyways, when we got back to Destin, we all tried to figure out a way to carry him. As soon as we were about to pick up Destin, you don't have to believe me on this, but I promise you, this was the most scariest moment in my life. Someone threw a rock at Mir's leg, and the rock said run. After that, I just picked Destin up. Then we all started running back to the main trails. So we finally ran down the other side of the trail, which came to be the right trail this time. So when we were running, we heard someone running behind us. So I started to tense up, and I accidentally dropped Destin. And then I fell too. And when I looked back up, the entrance was right there. So Mir and Dom ended up picking up Destin. I got back up and I started running. Then we heard the laugh getting louder and louder by the second. So we finally made it to the entrance. We got to the entrance, but then realized it was the graveyard. So here's the final part. So when we finally made it to the gate, we realized this wasn't the right one. We looked around and we seen that it was the graveyard. But the good thing was, past the graveyard, Mir's house was right there. So we all started jetting through the graveyard. Now let me remind you, the graveyard is like 2 football fields long. So when we were running, bunch of deer came out. They started running past the graveyard. So my heart was racing, man. Then we heard someone running behind us. So Mir looked back and said he didn't see anything. And Dom said when he was running, something touched his leg. Alright, so a couple seconds later, Dom fell and started yelling. We ran to him to see what happened, and Dom said he got bit. We looked at Dom and we looked down, and we seen a tarantula on him. So Mir ended up kicking the tarantula and ended up picking up Dom. So we all finally made it to the end of the graveyard and we finally made it back to Mir's house. We ended up calling Dom's mom to take him to the hospital because Dom's leg was getting bigger by the second. So a minute later, we all started talking about what happened and we all agreed not to do it again. Moral of the story is, never go in the woods with your friends. Never go in the woods, period. And never go at night.